Nation, why don't we repeat? We should not repeat the problems of the West, but not of the West, not of our own country in northern and other parts of the country. So when we talk about electrification, electrical vehicle, as you're talking about, plays an important role. And here you can talk about public infrastructure, you can talk about personal infrastructure. Today we have developed economies where which we say like, let me take about residential. If you're an owner of a car, and these technologies do exist, already deployed by Schneider, not in Northeast yet, but in other parts of the world, where, for example, the car is storing the energy, car is also responding to the energy when you don't need it. So car itself is a storage, right? And of course, when you are using this energy smartly, and the software helps you to decide when do you take the energy from the grid, when do you store it, when do you give that energy back to the grid? So while you are becoming from a consumer to actually a prosumer, and the electrical vehicle story can actually be incorporated in that story, so that you have a full, let's say, a smart, energetic home, and where you're charging the vehicle. So while vehicle is of course going to be saving the emissions while running the road, I want to build that this is beyond just driving an electrical vehicle. The whole ecosystem of a smart home can help you to use that electrical vehicle also as a storage, right? So these type of technologies is what we should adapt, and that means we're not talking about these pieces of technology in isolation, right? We have done, and there are literally examples in northern part of the country. I have seen electrical scooter be charged by a generator. See, you have killed the whole motive of electrical vehicle because the charger is running on a diesel engine, because they're charging the scooter through a generator. So it's not about just the vehicle. I think the whole ecosystem, if you don't develop that, then you don't solve the problem. So for me, bringing the electrical vehicle back as an answer, yes, it should be taken at personal level. And if you have a home, then let's electrify the home. Let's make the home energy efficient. And electric vehicle charging actually becomes more from a consumer to prosumer as a backup, and then the whole home is a small energy source, and then the electrical vehicle completes that story into the. And these technologies do exist today for deployment. So, for example, in Northeast, why do we go through a traditional route? Why don't we jump directly into this technology so we don't compromise the biodiversity and the ecosystem of the region?
Can't agree more. And at Climate Group, we run this global campaign on EHNF, where a lot of companies take ambitious targets around, changing their entire fleet to electric vehicles. We've learned from our corporate members that some of the opportunities that lie are around technology deployment, but also looking at, as you exactly said right now, about looking at the ecosystem and not only deployment of electric vehicles, going beyond that, which is a great point that you made. We have Mr. Bhaskar Jyoti with us, and I would like to know from you, sir, you've been working in the region for long now, how are you at NRL meeting the ecological environmental needs of the region, and what are the best practices that you have adopted and you feel are replicable for just energy transition in this region?
I would like to start by thanking Balipara Foundation to give me this opportunity. See, energy transition and the path forward is the most frequently talked subject nowadays, and the teen attendance would only strengthen my view that it is almost, we are pushed to a state of being boring actually. This subject has been discussed over and over and over again, and so frequently that people think that tomorrow everything will get changed to EV. See, I would just like to give you statistics. India has 30 million vehicles on road, 4-wheelers only I am talking about. And EV monthly sale is around 5,000. So you can proportion it like that. So a narrative has been created that tomorrow everything will change to EV. If you talk to any young guy, they think that, oh, EV. See, you don't have the electric infrastructure to charge the EV. This is not only the charging station alone. See, what kind of transmission line that you have. So that is my first response there. Of course, I have gone beyond what was asked to me. See, as far as our refinery is concerned, like our refinery, every oil company you will see now has declared net zero target, and ours is 2038. So how do you make a refinery net zero? It is almost in the realm of impossibility. We are saying that only scope 1 and scope 2 will make net zero. Scope 3, definitely, if we continue to produce petrol, diesel, if you burn diesel, petrol, it is bound to emit CO2. So therefore, you cannot achieve, till the time that the country needs diesel or petrol, our job is to keep on supplying that. But can we make our own production system decarbonize as far as practicable? So that way we are, the most low-hanging fruit is energy efficiency. So we have focused heavily on energy efficiency for last 2 decades, in fact. And then also we are going to the path of green hydrogen. See, in the refining, you need a lot of hydrogen to be used just to strip out the sulfur, because sulfur is another nuisance to the atmosphere. So SOx emission has to be controlled. Then you have to desulfurize the fuel, for which you need hydrogen. So we are embarking on green hydrogen. Now, green hydrogen, there are very different pathways. See, I think nobody is from the West. I am not a fan of West. So those guys are trying to tell us that electrolyzer is the end of all solutions. This is the holy grail of the decarbonization are the electrolyzers. See, people have very conveniently forgotten that there are other means to produce hydrogen. There is a method, and that hydrogen will be called turquoise hydrogen. If you can split the methane molecule, which you have, India have, we have a lot of natural gases. So you can split that molecule to hydrogen and carbon will come in a solid form. Carbon in a solid form is not harmful. Then from there you can also produce carbon tube. So therefore those technology, you actually do not know which technology will eventually succeed. And I have my views on EVs. I'll refrain from commenting on that, because unless the battery manufacturing is dramatically improved and they don't rely on the materials that they are currently relying on, be it lithium, be it copper. You can actually Google and see how much copper prices have increased over time, because suddenly everything is being motorized. Then lithium mining, you just Google and see how lithium is mined. Is it by any stretch of imagination is a environment friendly process? I don't think so. Cobalt is the same story. So if you have combination of these 3 materials going into battery manufacturing, I think it is more of a greenwash than anything else. That is what I wanted to tell.
Thank you so much for that candid intervention. I think I'll let Anilji and Deepak think a bit about what he said about electrification, and in the perhaps next questions you would like to comment on what he said. But I think thank you so much, Mr. Pukhan, for getting into the technicalities, also bringing in hydrogen, because there are a lot of questions that we are getting with. It's a big element in the house. And it would be great to know more from you about that in our next round of questions. I would like to call upon Mr. Ashwini Kumar Patil now. Ashwini ji, what are the challenges and opportunities in modernizing region's energy infrastructure? And how can we accelerate the integration of renewable energy sources into the grid? I think it's a primary question when we talk about decarbonization, and you are very well placed to answer this question.
Yeah, so as far as Northeast state is concerned, if you see the challenges here, the hilly terrain is there, road infrastructure is not so good as it is in other parts of the country. Policies are not, they are not in line with what is required for renewables. If you see the potential, 129 gigawatt potential is there here. out of which only 4% is utilized, and it tells, these challenges tells the reason. And if you see this 4%, out of 4%, 85% is hydros. So if you see the radiation, most better radiation states are Rajasthan, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and some parts of Jammu and Kashmir, and also Northeast. But still, in spite of that, solar has not come here. Main reason, what any plant is required is to supply its power to the other states once we take the fulfill the need of the own states. Here, Northeast states taking power from the other states most of the time I've seen. So these are the challenges which Northeast states are facing, and how to overcome these challenges. Number one, 64% of the area of Northeast state is forest area. So if we decide to lay the transmission line, use the energy for Northeast states, renewable energy, say solar and wind, and use it for states, much more potential is there, and it can supply to other states also. But it is a challenge because you can't lay the transmission lines. Presently, if you see the state of Rajasthan, where Rajasthan is away from the load center, and whichever state, and then there you can produce the maximum energy. And just because it is away from the load center, the transmission connectivities are coming only up to 2030 because high voltage DC system is required to transmit this power. Here also, even here, if we do that, because here radiations are good, wind potential not very much, solar potential huge. Even if we decide that here we will generate the power and transmit it, there is a challenge because of forest. Because forest pollution is a challenge. It's not good to destroy the forest and lay the transmission line. So what is the solution? So distributed generation is solution here. I'm coming in Assam. I'm coming here after 15 years. And when I was taking the photographs from the plane, when I was near to the, and you know what I see? I see on how many houses the rooftop solars are there. Because rooftop solar, if distribution generation is there, then there is no transmission line is required. Because household system, they will take care of their own needs. If the battery is there, it can take the night needs here. It may be costly in the beginning, but it will be costly in the beginning. Let me remind. Tata Group, our founder, 130 years back, he started clean power, and he did not think whether it is cheaper or whether it is costlier. Supplied to the Mumbai city, and 1915 when first plant came, the profit was up to 18 years. But he did not think about profit. What was in mind was ensure that there is no harm to the environment while industrialization goes on. So, and each and every employee of the Tata, that thought is there in their mind. And then I'll tell you the example. We have 100 megawatt plant in Nimach. Grasslands are there. Since we are talking about, so it is like this only, grasslands. And you know what our team started? Twice a week, we allow kettles there. We are not using chemicals. See, solar plant, to measure things. Panel should be clean, then your energy will be higher, maximize the energy. And there should not be any grass because there will not be any shadow. So we allow the cattle twice a week. Veterinary camps, these are the examples. There are plenty of examples which we can give how our founders' direction till today the people are following. Number one, environment. Number two, industrialization. So I thought I will share this with you. But then again, coming back to other source, pump storage and micro hydro. I will talk on that also, because here around 300-350 megawatt micro hydro turbines are there. I don't know whether these are economical, because what happens for any micro hydro turbine, there should be flow of water or there should be little bit of shade, basic fundamental. And why I want to bring this to the notice, because students are there, and I would like to also members are there. So many times we speak about micro hydro turbines, which is not economical. Let me tell you, we tried 15 years back. There is our hydro plant. After generation, water flows to the sea. So we thought, okay, 3.5 meter per second is velocity. So what to do? So when we went to the hydro manufacturers, their solution was very costly. And then what did we do? Then we went to the ship manufacturers, where the propellers they use. So we used propeller as a turbine, and this propeller around 10 kilowatt machines, some 6-7 machines we installed in a row in the terrace where water is flowing, where we are getting around 3-4 meter depth and around 3-4 meter per second velocity. And these machines are still generation. But let me tell you, these are not economical. It is in spite of infrastructure was available, terrace was available, everything was available. So what I am saying is more innovative solutions are required to increase the micro hydro turbines in turbine. If you see, there is a lot of potential, but why it is not there? Because innovation is not there. IIT Roorkee is doing the work. IIT Madras is doing the work on micro hydro. So if government give a mandate, look, there is a lot of potential, and your job is this much group should do only this job and come out with a solution. Then it is possible. Otherwise, I think it will be only a subject of discussion as few of us feels. Thanks.
Yes. And you rightly pointed out, uptake is very important because unless that is happening, we cannot shift the markets. And unless the markets are shifting, this big change that we are striving towards will be difficult to achieve. So thank you for bringing that up. I have a connected question, but I will try to maintain the sequence in the interest of time. So I'll come back again to Anilji. And would you like to share some examples of successful digitization projects that Schneider Electric has implemented in other challenging regions that might serve as a good example for the Eastern Himalayas? Perhaps you would like to show.
I'll let Deepak handle that question because he's at Schneider Electric. I'm his predecessor, so he will be able to handle it. But I can give you a related point and Schneider specific example you can share that. You know, it's very important that a region like this, we should not be only looking from an energy development point of view. What we need is an integrated development. Because, as you said, in some regions, micro hydro will work, in some regions it will not work. We're talking of green hydrogen as in the Maligarh refinery is working on that and many things. But for the sustainability of region, energy is one component for an integrated development. We need to equally, with very important thing, look at this, and we talked about that indirectly, that there has to be a culture of preservation, culture of climate attention, and culture of how we do the work in our societies. And take an example of a village. You may put everything in solar, but even in solar, if I am not able to, educate the whole village how responsibly they will use the energy, there could be a lot of way we will generate scope 2, scope 3 kind of waste and all the things we're talking about. So, in addition to energy, I think it's very important for this region to see that how these technologies are able to help efficient use of those in agriculture. We talked about in the previous session that plantation is done, survival rate is 20%. How can I increase that survival rate of forestation and water? Water conservation is very, in one of the sessions, they were talking of those, restoration of natural, springs and then using storage water and then using it for agriculture when it's not there. These are very important aspects of different forms of energy rather than only electricity. So I think for economic development of this region, which is very important, at the same time ensuring that biodiversity and forests and everything is also equally developing, agriculture is developing, the total education system to create an ecosystem. You may put a solar plant, micro solar plant and all those things, but if you don't have the technicians or people who can train the village folks or women who can maintain themselves, nobody is going to go from Guwahati for 12 hours by road to go to a small village. So we have to create those ecosystems. That's very important. And in addition to that, health. I think when we're talking of that, because health, education on health, the quality of life, and then how, because, we have talked in previous sessions, funds generation is happening. 2% CSR, corporates have to do it. If you take a recent study by Bridgestone, from the time this new company laws came in 2013 and effective from 2014, financial year 15 to financial year 22, 7 years. 1,53,000 crore worth of funds have flown into social sector. It's not a small money. And not only that, the way the corporate profits, the overall economic growth, the growth of the company is happening, the next 4 years, by 5 years, this amount is going to be additional 6,33,000 crores. Now, if we start channelizing that with an integrated development of the village, the economy, and all those things, that will make a big impact. The need of the hour is because there are companies like Schneider, which are very much in energy efficiency, we can bring the technology. The companies which are working in education sector, the companies which are working in health sector, the companies which are working in the agriculture sector, in flora and in various plantations and all, tea plantation, how these companies can cooperate to channel their funds to make a big impact. And that is what is matters.
Thank you so much for, especially for drawing the parallel with the different kinds of interventions that need to be done, and also multi-sectoral interventions that need to be done. So we at Clamco, we usually speak about the fact that we work on electric vehicle, for example, not only electric vehicle, but our campaign on electric vehicle. We might think that that is our universe, but that is not the universe when we talk about transportation sector itself. Then we can look at mobility itself, because when we talk about transportation, we cannot unlook at the questions around mobility, about how do people move, how do we make tariffs easy, how do we look at mass transportation, whether it is electrified or non-electrified, how do we do that? Because it's actually about how can people afford to move safely, economically, and also in an environmental friendly way. And that calls for an ecosystem change rather than only looking at electric vehicles. And Mr. Pukun was also speaking about that. I think that is the point you were trying to make, sir. Deepakji, I'll maybe not ask you a question, but would like you to say something more or add to what Mr. Arunji had just said.
Yeah.
Would you like to give more examples? Would you like to talk about company culture or ethos, or how brand value can be connected with electrification, or in your case, electrification?
Yeah. So I come back. I think every time we talk of a topic, let's not look at silos, let's look end to end. And I think Anilji was talking about technology piece and the non-technology part, the social part. So I would like to at least summarize in less than 2 minutes what are we trying to discuss from a company which brings technology. What we are saying is, let's take Northern Eastern as an example. Our per capita consumption in this area is less than 350 kilowatt per capita. India is around 1200. Western world is somewhere between 6,000 to 12,000. That means just bringing comfort back to life, more quality of life, you will need energy. Now we can build energy either by solar or by water or by any other means. But the point is, how do we preserve the nature while we build tomorrow? I think that's the fundamental topic we should all discuss and worry of. We can do it the Western way, we can do the Delhi way, that yes, we will build the energy, everybody would have an air conditioning, but we will have no air to breathe. Right? Or you dismantle the whole third pole or dismantle the biodiversity. So what I think we want to summarize is, now if you look at the end-to-end ecosystem, first is we want to build the supply side. Is it solar, is it water? I think what we're trying to preach is, like the water pledge you made earlier. If we all pledge that I will only use energy which I need minimum, right? If I need geyser for 1 hour or 10 minutes, then the 11th minute the geyser should switch off, for example, right? The warm water. But what happens in a normal home, the geysers can come running for the whole day, right? And that's where the technology comes in and say, we can build a smart home, energy efficient home, that then you can track your energy consumption by room, by your kids' room, by your parents' room, and your own room, and say which probably room is misusing the energy. Because what we're talking about is the more you save, the less you create. The less you create, that means you're not cutting more forest, not cutting natural resources. So efficiency plays that role. These are real examples of technology where we have built a solution with the DISCOM, where the DISCOM who gives energy is actually monitoring the energy by house, actually by room. So then you're able to tell the user on an app that that particular house is the most energy usage in the community, and within that house, that particular room, and then you can actually play with the load if you're allowed to disconnect those loads. So that level of detailing we can do on a household. Then this area will go for industrialization. Right? You will see factories coming. We have heard about a big Tata investment coming and going to build a semicon fab. Now, all these industries, there are two fundamental areas where energies get consumed and carbon emissions comes as industries and buildings. So if industries are coming and they pollute again in the same way we do, what will happen is, again, you destroy the whole ecosystem. So then again, we have technologies we have used in our own Hyderabad factory, which is a sustainable lighthouse at World Economic Forum, where we can, by using digitization and bringing smartness to the manufacturing process, your waste goes down by 50%, your productivity goes by 100%, carbon emissions are down by 20%, and all these are public data. You can Google on Schneider Hyderabad factory and get this because it's established by World Economic Forum. So then you can take care of industries. Then you will build more hotels, you will build more buildings. Same thing if you can deploy these smart technologies and conserve. So this is where the technology will play from end to end. Let's not do only vehicle, let's not do manufacturing, and then comes the people part. And I think this is where the education of people is very important, which is awareness. And we also have programs where we train the youth. Only in Northern Eastern we have around 50 schools where we have trained almost 10,000 engineers or electricians to manage these technologies. We have now gone to schools in the states of Arunachal, Meghalaya, where kids were not aware of these technologies coming. With their digital classrooms. We have built these digital classrooms where the kids. So I think the technology has to move from A to C, and I think companies like us, and the last two example took is all about building the ecosystem of preparing the tomorrow generation. So technology with the right use cases, with a more behavioral change, and then preparing the youth and the kids of tomorrow. Then I would say if you can bundle all this, this is not going to be solved in 1 year. I mean, I fully agree with Mr. Pukhan, it will take years. But if you do one step right every year, probably in 10 years you're going to solve it, and then this is where the whole ethical program plays in.
Thank you, that's really great. And thank you for bringing us to the solutions part of it. And I'll move to Mr. Pukhan. I was going to ask you about the challenges, I will not ask you. I will ask you about the opportunities that you see in modernizing regions' energy infrastructure, and how can we accelerate any energy transition journey. But I would really like you to speak about what does the region needs to do, because I see that what the international or the west of the world is for India or the developing country. It's the same, parameter that we can apply to a person living in Delhi and a person living in Guwahati or any remote northeastern region. Like a lot of energy use and a wasteful energy use is being seen by the so-called developed region of the country. How do we translate development? How do we define development in that nature? And what should we not preach as people, coming from that side of the country?
If you look at the INDC document of India, you will realize that no country has achieved HCI more than 8 without consuming a certain quantity of energy. So we are far, far below. So if you want to become a middle income country, maybe $15,000 per year per capita. So you need to consume energy. Now from where it will come? It has to be a combination of many of the energy forms which are much more soft on the ecology. See, the whole subject here was decarbonization. So carbon dioxide has been one part of it. See, I will, if you indulge, I will digress a little bit. See, it has a bigger connotation is the climate change. That day I was reading an article wherein it was said that green, this third desert is getting green, and it will be end of India's monsoon if it somehow become green. Can you imagine? You are thinking that I am making an outlandish statement. Actually, that provides the potential for the monsoon to flow, but it doesn't get rain because Aravallis prevent that moist air from reaching third, but it gets diverted elsewhere where rainfall happens. So only looking at one parameter, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, is not the solution here. So we have to have a combination of both. One. Second, a country like India also needs to very minutely look at the affordability. See, any technology is available. Leapfrogging is available. We can convert to hydrogen. You have FCEVs running the vehicles, running the trains. Now Indian Railways trying to run a train, engine on hydrogen. So if they are going the FCEV ways, it has already been tried and discarded by this. The FCEV is not a hit, but EV is more or less. But hydrogen, if it can be put in IC engine directly, it will be the ultimate solution. But whatever hydrogen is being used currently, first hydrogen will run a fuel cell will run a motor, and then motor will run a vehicle. So that may not be the most elegant solution. Here I am only sticking myself to the mobility solution. See, if you look at it, a humongous amount of electrification has already happened in railways. I don't think no loco is now running in diesel or coal but even in diesel it is not running. So that is a huge step that has already been taken. These are easy to electrify sector. Maybe the normal vehicle, the passenger vehicle, it will be hard to decarbonize very quickly. So looking at our own ecosystem, what we have embarked on is a biofuel. Biofuel is another solution that government is also pursuing very hard. They are embarking onto bioethanol to start with. Ethanol is being blended with gasoline. Typically, gasoline will have carbon numbers from 7 to 12, but ethanol will have a carbon number of 2. So if you burn ethanol, it will emit lesser carbon dioxide. Similarly, they have also nudged us to go for biodiesel. It is another good, small amount of blending is happening. Maybe it will come in the future. Third and most prominent thing which can happen in this region very easily is the production of sustainable aviation fuel. Sustainable aviation fuel can also come from the edible oils. So this region has a huge potential of producing edible oil. So it is another forum that may discuss whether that particular kind of edible oil is sustainable, non-sustainable, because there has been a huge debate on planting of palm trees. And particularly in the European Union, they do not recognize as the aviation turbine fuel coming from palm oil as sustainable aviation fuel, but other countries do. So, coming back to the whole issue of what we can do in Northeast or sub-Himalayan region, as such that we have to have a combination of sources, because our people, as he has said, that our per capita income is low, our energy uses are going to go exponentially high if we want to target a middle income level, and which we should actually. But our energy will come from a basket. It is not going to come from one source. Electricity and micro turbine, maybe localized grid, solarization, all combined has to come. So then only, and then we have natural gas. God has given us a lot of natural gas. Even using natural gas is good, because natural gas is methane. Methane has only one carbon. So first you decarbonize by going into that natural gas, CNG, etc. Then you move to electrification when the time comes. That is my take on the whole issue. So it has to be a gradual transitional process, not a disruptive process.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Pugan. I think it's a fair point. But we also see that we are already late in terms of the international treaties around climate change, and I feel that it has to be a concerted effort from all directions for us to be achieving the overall targets. But that's okay. I really want to now bring upon Mr. Ashwini Kumar and change a little bit of the topic. We've not discussed, and I really want to discuss in this session, is about jobs. So Ashwini ji, if you could just say what are the key challenges and opportunities in modernizing the, in creating green jobs and stimulating local economic development. Because the balance is there. We can't say that economic development should not happen. We want to accelerate economic development. As a country, we are eyeing for becoming a developed country. In this region also, we have our development priorities. And there's another parallel question around job loss, but also job creation. What type of opportunities do you see in your experience?
Yeah. I will start with this per capita income. You see, for Northeast region, it is 1/3 of what our rest of the country is. Okay, and for rest of the country, it is 488 kilowatt hour. That is kilowatt hour. That is unit, we call 1 unit of electricity. So 488 units of electricity one person consumes in 365 days. Here it is 1/3. So if you see the opportunities here, this number says how opportunities are there. Then again, going back to 64% forest, transmission lines, very challenged. We need to accept it. 64% forest, that means transmission line will be challenged. So decentralized system is the solution here. So first thing, what it should be done is, first we should map the energy. How much is the solar? How much is the land available? How much is the micro turbine? We can do it, and it can be done with various ways. Once it is done, then it comes to the execution. So for distributed solar generation, if the community is there in the decision making, number one, if they are there in the decision making, we have to do this. Each and every house should have solar panels. Each and every house should have the battery system also. And number one, and number two, each and every person in the house should be able to repair the panel, operate the thermal plant, and whatever issues are there, small issues, they should be. It is not very difficult. It's not a rocket science. And even if you see the ITIs, today we have more engineers. Today what we need is more technicians. And we are facing scarcity of technicians. If you tell engineer attend this, they will not attend. Maybe sirs 30 years back, he may be able to attend. But today if we ask the engineer, you attend this, he will call a technician. That is the reality, and then they will accept this solution. So today we need, so if each and every household member, if they are technicians, if they know how to operate solar plant, whether it is rooftop, whether it is ground mounted, whether it is plant, everything is same. What is there? It is a module cleaning, it is grass cutting, it is some electrical operations, it is DC system, plugging, unplugging, and little bit defects. If they are able to attain those defects, then they should not go to, and sir said, a person will come from Guwahati, travel 12 kilometers. So eliminate that. He was right in saying that. That is not required. So that is the opportunity, skill set. Number two, if the small items can be manufactured in the state instead of getting from outside, I'm not saying modules or inverters, but whatever other things are there, it can be manufactured. And we can create the distribution hubs for solar panels. Like if solar panels are coming from, if they are coming from Bangalore or Tirunelveli or from Mumbai or any other, we should have hubs, distribution hubs here, which will create the job opportunities there also. Many technicians can be trained. See, we have Tata Power Skill Development Institute. We train the people. In fact, what we have done is, we have around 5 gigawatt capacity all over India in 11 states. And then wherever there is solar plants, we go to the community, we ask the people, you come, we want to teach you, we want to give you training for 3 years. And then either they get absorbed there itself, or they get better opportunities also. So all these things, in addition to our own people training, we are training the communities also. That we have started at 11 states. If we start here, once solar system is getting strengthened here, then it will also help. Then another thing which I would like to bring to the notice here is vocational institute and NGOs also they will help in enhancing these skills. He said, electrician training you are giving, that is wonderful job you are doing. In fact, it is very good for the community if corporate come there and then they ensure that people get trained, they uplift them, and then they ensure that these people get job, if not in your organization, but somewhere else, and maybe better jobs also. So these are, I think, a few of the things I thought I'll share with you.
Thank you so much. And bringing out those questions, I'm now going to put all of you on the spot. We've not discussed about finance, and we've just touched upon capacities. And it is a common question to all four of you. What would be your take on capacity for decarbonization and finance for decarbonization? And you can take any example from your own experience or any other sector's experience. We just want to know what would it take to generate that momentum. Maybe we can start with Anandji. You're ready for that.
You know, one thing is here that finance will come with the reality of the life when there is some business sense, right? And it depends on our responsibility to scale how we create that business sense out of this. Now, I'm just taking an example of this. We talked about decarbonization, net zero. But, you know, the development, take whatever element you take it, and if we talk of this region, there is a lot of development has to happen, and whenever the development will happen, carbon emissions will happen. Nobody can stop that. Otherwise, development can happen. We are not going to go with gold. And to get to the financing, using this as an opportunity, I think the decarbonization and carbonization they coexist. Net zero is one of those elements. So how do we achieve that? Now, if I look at this region, and especially India, this region may be densely, may be a little high, but if we take the example of India, we have 22 trees per capita for our population. The world average is 400 plus trees, 430 or 435, I don't remember exactly, but that's the scale which is there. And at the same time, for all the development which is happening across the world, there are about 300 to 400 trees every second destroyed in the world in the name of the development. Right? So, what we have to do? We have to use that as an opportunity to create financing. We talked about carbon financing. This word was touched in one of the elements, but it was not one. This region has huge opportunity to create carbon sink and that way carbon financing, because very soon the government of India is also coming with there's a discussion that they will allow carbon financing as one of the businesses. So if you go in this region, start planting trees and trees and trees, it will not only help India average to go up, but if 1 hectare number of trees planted in 20 years, it generates almost like close to 30 to 40,000 rupees of revenue by crediting, by trading those carbon, financing credits which you get it from the sink you are creating. That's it. And once to convince the community that yes, you will get the benefit. All these companies, all of us, I will encourage you to see what you want to see from the company's point of view, how we do it, how the companies what they're doing. There's a very interesting, Netflix short film it has come, 1 hour 24 minutes, I think. Buy more. Companies will always encourage to buy more. But how to get to a point where all that, what you're generating, all that thing, how you can responsibly have to do. So here is an opportunity for this region to get ahead of the curve, to get ahead of the world, to start thinking on carbon financing, start promoting that, and get the company, which with all these buy more companies, big brands and all, for business, they have to do it, they have to produce more anyway. Production more means more carbon. That means for them to be responsible, they have to buy carbon credit. Where they will come for carbon credit? Where there is a lot of trees, you can have it. And this is the region where you can have a lot of trees. Already there is a lot, but still. And then you trade, you make money. That's what I think of this. Financing.
Great. That's really good to hear from you. I'm told that we are running short of time, but I don't want to be unfair to the other three panelists. I would give you about 1 minute to speak about it from your own reflection.
I don't want to sound philosophical, but I can tell you there is a lot of money in the universe, a lot of money in the planet, a lot of money. So I don't think it's a decision, I want to die rich, I will leave a planet where my kids cannot breathe, but there's a lot of money in the bank. What the hell will you use that money? So there's enough money in the universe, and I think the corporates, the boards are not saying let's build tomorrow by compromising, let's build today by compromising tomorrow. I think there's awakening already happening. So if I have only 30 seconds, I don't think this is the story anymore. Yes, there are couple of electro-intensive industries where the amount of capex does not pay a short-term return. But I think the management, the people, because at the end all of our humans, have started understanding that there is a meaningful investment needed, and couple of investments will have a little longer ROI. So I will not hold myself back and say, I don't have money, so I will build a shitty hospital or a shitty building so that I can compromise tomorrow. I would pledge that I will not build the hospital until I get the right commitment for tomorrow. And I'm sure that the ecosystem will change. So I don't think it's a money assets dollar problem. It's more about who signs the check, but I think the willingness to sign those checks for longer ROIs is coming directly or by funding. But again, there are multiple mechanisms. If it's 1 minute, that would be my high level answer.
Thank you. Mr. Booker.
Carbon credit is one of the way of financing, I fully agree. But government also has to come with interest subvention scheme for greener project. Already market people who are already listed, they also aspire to invest in a green project, and they say that green money comes cheap, even today. So there is one aspect which will evolve over a period of time. Fortunately, what happened in COP29 will not get repeated, because the polluters have refused to give more than $300 billion per year to the non-polluting developing countries. So that narrative needs to change, and change very fast. We are all concerned about the climate. So because the poorer countries, as we develop, we need to invest in green portfolio rather than going the Western way. So that's my take.
Thank you so much. Ashwini, you have the last word.
Any corporate, any businessman, they will think that they are doing the business for IRR, for return, for payback period, for return on investment. These are the main things. That is the reality. Okay. If you ask them to take the renewable power at higher cost, they will not take it. Okay. Except few people. They will go for it. And then what is the solution to this? So government has come out with a solution also, renewable power obligations. So DISCOMs are, generators are supplying power to DISCOMs are supplying power to us. So DISCOM, if they are taking the power, some percentage of power should be renewable. That mandate government has given, then scale increased, people started installing the solar panels, wind farms, and then scale increased and cost reduced. If you see 2010, the renewable power plant from solar plant, the rate of the power was 20 rupees per unit, 20 rupees per kilowatt hour. Today the rates are around 2 rupees 50 paisa to 2 rupees 70 paisa. Why it is happened? That is because scale has increased. If you see 2 years rate, the solar bid in 2021, it was 1.99 kilowatt hour per unit. And why it was there? Because China was supplying very cheap modules. And why China was supplying? Because scale has increased. After that, imposition of duty, now ban, and now we are not taking panels from China even if we give the duty. So that is the reason impetus is given to internal manufacturers And then that is the reason the rates are around 2 rupees 50 paisa, 2 rupees 70 paisa, which is still better than thermal. So people are going to solar because cost is less. But it is not for 24 hours. You add battery into that and the cost will increase. So finally, as Sir said, we need to ensure that renewable cost should come down. Then only it is win-win situation without affecting the environment. Use this power. So FDRE solution or hybrid solutions. That's what all the bids are coming now. So that we are getting the 24-hour power using solar, wind, and battery, and no thermal and no gas. So that is how the world is going. That is how the India is going. And government has played a large role in this because of the 500 gigawatt by 2030 target which was given to everyone. If you see the Central Electricity Authority, CERC, MNRE, the way these people are meeting the developers, asking them what are your issues. Yesterday only I attended the meeting. So it is changed completely because direction from the top, it is driven from the top. 500 gigawatt by renewable power by 2050. So it will happen. It will take time, 3 years, but it will happen.
Thank you so much to all the panelists for the reality check, but also a very, very solution-oriented conversation. Thank you all for your patience today, and it was a privilege to be moderating this session. Thanks for your time. I hope everyone has a good evening.